From below the line and underwater, we talked to two very unique gentlemen today on location, Tim Bourne, executive producer, and Rick Allen. It's all coming up next on Below the Line on Location.
It's Below the Line with George Peroulas. Tonight's guests are
Joining me now is executive producer Tim Bourne. Tim, thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure.
Now, tell us a little bit how you got started in the business. Your father was in this and your brother as well, and you began how?
Actually, by accident. I was in another trade at the time. I had grown up in entertainment with my mother, my father, my grandparents, and it wasn't something I was really interested in doing. And I pursued cooking, actually. I trained in France, and on a vacation, I came back to New York to visit my dad, and he was working on a film, and he gave me an old black and white Polaroid. They had other Polaroids, just by the way. That's the one he had that he gave me, and asked me to go take some pictures of, told me a location that they were looking for, and I went out and ended up finding a few places and ended up sort of being asked to stay on to, like, help manage that particular location, and one thing led to another, and I kind of never left. So it wasn't something planned. As a matter of fact, I tried to avoid it, but I ended up in working in locations in New York City, which was a great experience. Locations is considered a production field, and you learn a great deal about other people's crafts as a result of being in locations, because they all come to you at some point or another because they want access or something. So you end up getting a full, a rounded knowledge of the different crafts in the film business. And I was always pretty comfortable around people, and one thing led to another. I just kept going I didn't plan on it. I just went from one film to the next, to the next, to the next, and I sort of failed upwards. Location managing on the East Coast is a Directors Guild category, so I was asked to join the union, which I did, and I aspired to become a production manager, and then from there I sort of weaseled my way into various producing credits, whether it was co-producer or whatever, and little by little, it just now I'm what they call a line producer, or the titles are changed depending on what medium, if it's television or film or feature films. But basically, once a film is decided upon, whether or not there's a possibility of it being made, they'll come to me and say, here's a script, how do we do it? How much will it cost? Where would we do it? And I'll come up with a plan. It's either accepted. Generally, they say, well, this is great. Can you make it for half that price? And you go away and you come back. And that's sort of how I just kept stumbling into it. And, one thing led to another. Every job I had more experience. That was, I don't even know how many years ago, 25 plus years ago.
So as you started off below the line, working locations, working on films, meeting people, did you think one day that you'd be working on award-winning projects?
I never really thought about it. I just worked, I just worked. I didn't have a goal. It'd be great, to stand on, the stage and accept an Oscar, sure, but I mean, it's not something that I think about. It's, you do the best you can on a day-to-day basis, and what comes, and I've worked on a lot of films, and some of them people know about and others don't. They've all been good to me, and I've met a lot of great people. I've gotten involved with cultures that I would not have, worlds that I would certainly not have any idea about. I did a movie called Drumline, which was centered and based around black college marching bands, and it was one of the most pleasurable experiences I've had. And I would never have been involved with folks like that or a culture like that had it not been for the film industry. So I didn't set out to plan on it, and I don't think about, Oscars or awards or anything like that. I really don't. It's just, I wake up and go to work, and most people are like that, I find, in the industry. I mean, we want to do a good job. We want to, create a product that's good. And if it makes money, it makes money. If it's critically acclaimed, it's critically, but you don't know. There's no for sure thing in it. So you just go out and do the best you can, and you meet a lot of great people, a lot of jerks too. But it's just like anything else. It's just like anything else. We're blessed to be able to be in the business. Don't get me wrong. I'm very grateful for it. The opportunities and the worlds that I come in contact with and the people I've met. And the good thing about movies, good and bad, they all end.
Coming up next, more with Tim Bourne. Stay with us. Coming up next, the exclusive interview with executive producer Tim Bourne continues right after this. You're watching Below the Line on Location. We're back with Tim Bourne, executive producer. Recently, Sandra Bullock won the Academy Award for The Blind Side, a film you worked very hard for. Tell us the thoughts and feelings of you and your crew when all that was coming down with that movie and all the nominations and all the accolades surrounding that picture.
Again, I mean, it's when we're making the film, you say, this is a good story, it's a great film. Sandy was an incredibly, the whole cast was fantastic. I mean, everybody, it was a pleasure to work with each and every one of those cast members. They were incredibly professional, fun to be around. I'm most proud and happy for the cast and the crew, and everybody that there's a lot. Our director, John Lee Hancock, obviously is, this is great for him, and producer Gil Netter, and a small little company called Alcon Entertainment that was behind producing the film. It's great, and I'm very happy for all of them. It's everybody's worked on a lot of shows. The film was made in Atlanta. There's a lot of crew members, electricians, carpenters, painters, grips. I mean, the whole gamut. People have worked on movie after movie after movie, and finally they're on one that people have heard about. And for that, I'm very happy for them. It's just, it's great that after all of the years and of all the schlock movies, that at least this one people have heard about. And so I'm very happy for them.
What advice do you give to up-and-coming people who want to transition from below the line to above the line work that you do? What do you tell them, and how tough it is, and what they should do to keep pursuing it, to do that?
Well, it is tough, but it's not impossible. And perseverance, oddly enough, there's a fine line between being, crazily annoying perseverance.
Because I'm not, obviously.
And just like being, diligent about, wanting it so bad. I mean, you can't become a stalker or anything like that. I'm not saying you are, but, it's just like, thank you.